Okay, for those who stayed in this room, thank you. And for those that left, you missed an amazing opportunity. So congratulations to everybody in this room. As introduced, I'm Michael Laurier, CEO, founder of Symphony Environmental Technologies. And for those that don't know of the company, this is something unique. It's something that you won't find anywhere, to our belief, because this is, if this presentation wasn't chopped in half, would look better if we could read it. But essentially, I know what's on here because I helped to write it, but I can't lecture on this particular subject. What I need to lecture on and to interest you is there is an exciting investment opportunity in this company called Symphony Environmental. We're listed on the AIM market, and since the last 5-6 years, we have an ADR facility on the NASDAQ. For those that know what an ADR is, it's a level 1 ADR. That's to allow our US and overseas investors who find it very difficult to invest in London to be able to efficiently invest into this company. We're a global company. This is a multi-billion-dollar market. Big. Because essentially it touches every human being on this planet. And as we say on here, this business touches nearly 100 countries around the world. It's a business that produces gross margins above 45%. And it's based on a commodity called polyethylene. And the main shareholder now in this business, following the announcements of our antimicrobials a couple of years ago, is a group that's essentially in property called Summerstone. They're a main shareholder, and it's good just to follow what's going on. The core technology, the technology that provides all our revenues, is D2W. It's a technology that makes ordinary plastic biodegradable. We can program a piece of plastic to degrade and biodegrade within a given time frame. And this is a growing market. It's a market where, as we show here, we have legislation in support of it, and it's driven by CSR, good sustainable practices that large groups need to follow. We have, interestingly, legislation in 12 countries. 12 countries. It's taken us a long time to persuade governments not to ban plastics, but to use this technology. In other words, protect the plastic industry, because there is no alternative to plastic in terms of LCA credentials. So using our D2W controlled life plastic, we've been able to persuade governments to put in place laws to make it mandatory. And then 3 or 4 years ago, we started work on a huge and wide range of master batch technologies that will provide antimicrobial, antibacterial, flame retardant properties, insecticide properties, and odor absorber properties. I'd need more than 10 minutes just to go for any one of these items. So if anybody wants to chat about it, we'll have a small stand downstairs, happy to chat about it. But each one of those subjects, in terms of revenue, potential revenue, and the projects we're working on, is seriously large. So where are we? We're talking about plastics. Plastics is a multi-billion-dollar market, and you can relate to it because you find it in shopping bags, you find it in packaging, you find it in plastic bottles, you find it in your credit card, you find it in your cars, you find it absolutely everywhere. Plastics. And our mission, that's what we want our global distributors to do, is to put one of our 3 main technologies, our D2W, which is the product and technology that allows plastic to degrade, or our D2P, our antimicrobial, or our D2T, which allows you to trace a particular product to stop counterfeiting. Put one of those products in the finished plastic product. And by doing that, you actually make it intelligent, you make it smart. So our three core technologies, the first two being the ones that are producing revenue, the top one producing all the revenue at the moment, the second one about to produce some serious revenue for this year, and a third one, probably a 2017 play rather than 2016 play for us. To give you a snapshot of some of the products that we put our technology in, this is just a snapshot of some. If any of you go into Dubai, like my colleague here, she loves going to Dubai, and you buy a Dubai duty-free shopping bag, you'll find our technology in there because you'll see the logo on the bag. So start looking at plastic bags. People are thinking you've gone mad, but you haven't. You're looking to see if that little D2W logo is actually on the bag. So they actually have it on the bag. Sometimes they don't, they just put an ESMA mark. But generally, from Vodafone in the UK, if you're going to buy Vodafone, look at the red carrier bag. Okay, forget the phone, just look at the carrier bag, look for the D2W logo. And if you bought some shares, you know you can put some value into what you're buying. You can see it. It makes you feel better. Or if you're in an NH hotel, I think they have about 400 hotels worldwide, mainly in Latin America, some in Europe. They started moving their shampoo bottles and hair conditioning and combs and plastic articles into our type of technology because they're green. They want to show that they're responsible to their customers. And if we move through the products, you'll find our name on some big names. You see C&A, but there's others. It goes on. If you look at this list, there's Carrefour, the world's second largest supermarket group after Tesco. And just to put that in terms of size, if you think Tesco's is large, Walmart's 50 times larger. So Carrefour is a serious player. It's being many times greater than Tesco. They've started in our program. And so, as I said, we have legislation in 12 countries so far and looking to get more countries to pass laws. You can see Africa. You can see the Middle East. You can see Pakistan, 180 million people buying plastic shopping bags, using plastic shopping bags, using food packaging. By law, have got to use our type of technology. In the UAE, by law, has got to use our type of technology. So why isn't this £7 million market cap company a £700 million market cap right now? It's because it's taken a long time to get those legislation in place, and it's taking time for the authorities to enforce the law. But it's started to happen. You will find that if you went to Dubai, ESMA, who's the environmental standards agencies, they are beginning to enforce. They have new enforcement people in place. In Pakistan, they've started to enforce. In places like Togo, and in one or two other places, they've started the enforcement process. And that has taken time, but it started. The point is, it started. And so we expect to see growth on our core technology, on our Oxo-biodegradable, with more enforcement and more legislation in place. And of course, how do you know if a product's real at all or not? A plastic bag looks like a plastic bag. We give a free X-ray handheld device to make sure that the legislators can enforce the law. The equivalent of a speed gun. How do I know somebody's speeding unless I've got something in my hand to point at the car? That's the equivalent of what we've given to the authorities to check to see if a bag does comply with the legislation. Okay, so this is the only technology in the world that's got an eco-label. It's a big number. An eco-label on a plastic product. You might think, what is so eco-friendly about a plastic bag? Our technology has an eco-label. Carrefour, we have them now in 5 countries. Potential is huge. We have a footprint in that group. And then we launched, and this is where we're expecting some serious revenues to kick in, our antimicrobial range. And as you will see here, there are 7 counterparts to the range. Each one of those products will do different things to plastic, making plastic smarter. That's what this is all about. Giving you an idea of some of the applications, from food containers to anti-mosquito netting for water tanks, We hear of malaria, we hear of dengue fever, we hear of all these horrible, horrible health issues around the world. Our technology is designed to kill insects. So we have a range to deal with insects, mosquitoes, flies, thrips, whether you're growing plants, you're growing vegetables, or you're just in a hospital area where you need to have netting to protect. Pipes, air pipes. You've got a lot of bacteria in that air pipe, in the filters. But not just this room. Look at the air conditioning here. You're in an aeroplane, you become ill. You're in a car, it's filtered air. You're breathing it. Our technology within the pipe will keep the pipe free of bacteria, will stop the fungi from growing. So we're working with one or two large, very large pipe companies because it adds value to their product. Imagine building houses that have got antimicrobial piping in there. It's an important value for their pipes, for the building, to offer to their customers. Go into a supermarket, put your hand on the trolley. Who else put their hand on their trolley? Did they have some virus on them? Did they have some bacteria? Treating that trolley handle with one of our antimicrobial tapes provides protection forever. Next time you're on a bus or on a train and you hold that handrail, just think what you're holding. That's one of our targets, is to make sure that our antimicrobial tapes will cover that rail. This is what our global distributors have got to do, is to communicate with transportation systems in a promotion of antimicrobials. Gloves. There is no such thing anywhere in the world that I've found as an antimicrobial glove. Nowhere. We've now developed a range of antimicrobial household as well as examination gloves. And all being well, we hope to launch the first commercial product in the UK at the back end of this year. If it succeeds, it will dwarf our current business. What we do know is there's no such product in the market, and we do know that it doesn't cost any more to buy our brand. So the right quality at the right price, made by the existing glove manufacturers. How am I doing? Going on a bit. Just shout me down. We're good? We're good? Okay, fine. So gloves is going to be a major. So when you buy gloves, and I'm sure some of you have gloves in your house, they're not antimicrobial. They build up bacteria, harmful bacteria. So you've already bought a chicken, maybe, or some meat from a supermarket, and you've already read in the press that the packaging is full of bacteria. And that bacteria jumps from one point to another point and goes into the kitchen. So the more antimicrobial protection you can get in packaging or in gloves or on work surfaces, the better. This is just in its infancy, and it's catching on very, very fast. Yes, we have things like toilet seats, mattresses. God knows what lives in mattresses, but there's an awful lot of activity in a mattress. That's why you shouldn't keep a mattress for too long. We have the technology to go into the foam to provide that protection. Fridges. It's the project we're actually on. Fridges and toothbrushes. Okay, a lot of bacteria and fungi in fridges and toothbrushes because you've got moisture and you've got food, you've got bacteria and a lot of cross-contamination. Food containers, chopping boards, knives, tablecloths, it goes on. As I said at the beginning, everything you see and everything you touch, we're aiming to get our technology into an existing manufacturer, into an existing supplier to get them to upgrade. And what does it do? What does one of our technologies do? It's designed to help to increase the shelf life of a food product by controlling the rate of mold and fungi on that product. And by doing that, there's a potential to reduce the preservatives that go into the product. Reduce the preservatives, you save the food company an awful lot of money, far more than they would pay on upgrading their packaging. So this antimicrobial DTP technology is something that produces immediate value. It's producing value to the buyers. That's why in our recent announcement, we referred to several trials going on with some very large companies around the world. They all want it. All they want to see is how you can put it into their existing products and what the performances are. So we're going through a course of agreed actions before it goes commercial timing won't be that long before this goes commercial, and the value of this dwarfs our biodegradable plastics technology. Example in bread. The one marked D to P is the plastic that's treated in our technology. The one that looks all moldy is just in conventional plastic. Just on this example, we're seeing a life extension of 19 days. You won't want to eat the bread, it's probably dried out by that point. But 19 days beyond the control. Plastic used in an intelligent way to help reduce preservatives and reduce the food waste. That is exciting to me. As I touched on earlier, some of the other new products that we put on, because we are in places like Africa, because we're in Latin America, because we're in the Far East, the issues of insects is a big issue. And we have a number of technologies that we put into plastics that will actually kill these mosquitoes or these types of insects. And an odor absorber. In the world where everything needs to be recycled, when you recycle plastic, you create a product that's smelly. I don't know if any of you have bought a garbage bag from a shop and it's sort of smelly because it's made from recycled plastic. It's not very nice. Our technology will stop the product from smelling. Or if you put some smelly fish in there, you can stop the smell, the odor from coming out using 1% of our technology inside the plastic that's being produced. Same for flame retardants, a multi-billion-dollar market. Its requirement under FAA and CAA rules, and in airlines, all materials are going to be flame retardants. The furniture industry, the car industry must be flame retardant. We have that technology that goes inside the plastic product to make it flame retardant so it doesn't blow up into flames. Financially, we reported only last week a spectacular set of results because we put some very heavy provisions in. We decided to change the emphasis of our business and invest less into our D2W Oxo-biodegradable business and to put more into our antimicrobials. The result of that is that we made heavy provisions and we come up with a loss of nearly 3 million for last year. But actually what's really happened here is that we've now managed to reduce our costs by $750,000. Our investments have gone down without changing the emphasis on R&D, and our gross profits have maintained. So you're looking at a company that's no longer burning cash. We're becoming cash generative. We don't need working capital. We announced that to the market. The market basically left the share price unchanged at a miserable 4.5p for those that did buy, and for those that haven't bought, in my view, good luck to you. But in terms of do we need cash, will we need cash going forward, the answer is no, because we're not burning cash, we have adequate cash. So we don't expect any further dilution at all. The board, myself, the chairman is a member of the European Parliament, Najdeva. Michael Stephen, he's actually a barrister and a former member of Parliament here. It's very important having political figures because this is political in terms of plastic pollution and legislation for and against plastic. So their advisory capacity is important. We have a lot of work going on in the EU. We have work going on in the United Kingdom. We have legislation issues going on all over the world. That's why we've been successful. We know what we're doing, and we've actually created results. Sean Robinson here, just below Nick Clavel, who's an expert in Africa. He runs a hedge fund that just deals with African business, which is helpful for us. But Sean is the managing director of Summerston Group. Summerston Group, none of you probably have ever heard of, but they actually own the Holiday Inn Express franchise here in the UK. They are a serious investor in Symphony. And Sean, having come onto the board just over a year ago, they own, I think, combined about 24% of the company at the moment, with myself owning approximately 15.3. On the share price graph, you can see we're pretty much, over the last 5 years, at the bottom, although we've been slightly lower. The last placing that we did was at 10p 1 year ago. You couldn't buy £500,000 worth of stock from the market at the ticker price of 4.5p, which is interesting. Thank you very much.